Hello and welcome to Dialogue, brought to you from Karachi, the biggest city in Pakistan. Between the year 2002 and 2007, Pakistan was the second fastest growing economy following China, until the devastating financial crisis and the political earthquake, especially the political assassination of Bina Bhutto. Debt and unemployment rate have both increased sharply, and this came hand in hand with a decline in the foreign direct investment. How will this low-income economy in South Asia recover quickly, and to what degree will China's assistance help? Today we are joined in this edition of Dialogue by Dr. Ishrat Hussain, Dean and Director of the Institute of Business Administration of Karachi. This is the oldest in Asia. He was the former governor of Pakistan's central bank and the former chief economist of the World Bank in China in the 1990s. But before we get started, let's look at this.
Pakistan has suffered from decades of internal political disputes and low levels of foreign investment. Between 2004 to 2007, however, GDP growth in the 5 to 8% range was spurred by gains in the industrial and service sectors, despite severe electricity shortfalls. But growth slowed in 2008 to 2009, and unemployment rose. Inflation remains a top concern among the public, climbing from 7.7% in 2007 to more than 13% in 2010. In addition, the Pakistani rupee has depreciated since 2007 as a result of political and economic instability. Record floods in 2010 lowered agricultural output and contributed to a jump in inflation. Reconstruction costs will strain the limited resources of the government. Textiles account for most of Pakistan's export earnings, but Pakistan's failure to expand a viable export base for other goods has left the country vulnerable to shifts in world demand. Other long-term challenges include expanding investment in education, healthcare, and electricity production, and reducing dependence on foreign donors.
Welcome to Dialogue, sir.
Thank you.
How difficult is the economic performance of Pakistan at this moment?
It's quite tough at this moment. You would recall that between 2002 and 2007, Pakistan was the second fastest growing country in Asia after China. But since 2007, after our own transition from one regime to another, assassination of our late Prime Minister Nazar Bhutto, and the global financial crisis, we're having serious economic difficulties, which have not been very much eased because of the security situation. The war against terror has intensified. The suicide bombing and attacks on Pakistan's security agencies, on the police, on the army, and that has disturbed the environment in which business and investment can take place. So these are tough times for our country.
What's the current figure of FDI?
The FDI this year is going to be not more than $2 to $3 billion. We had $8 billion of FDI in 2007, 2008, and that was a very rising curve of FDI, but this has been declining.
Usually you have two major sources of foreign direct investment. One comes from the Middle East, the other from China.
Yes.
What about the Middle East this time around?
The Middle East has slowed down, while China is still on the same path. So we don't see much of slowing down on the Chinese side.
What do you think of the Chinese commitments to your economic recovery following Premier Wen Jiabao's official visit last December?
Yeah, I think if we can rely on one single partner, it is China. And that has proved over time. And even this time, the kind of agreements which have been signed between the two governments amount to $16